All right, everyone, welcome to the Assemble webinar on our new templates feature. I am the CEO and co-founder, Nate Watkin. I should address up front, I'm a little bit under the weather, but we're going to power through this together. So apologies if I sound a little bit congested, but we'll get through this. So to give you an idea of the format, first, we're just going to give a demo of the new feature and go through the entire feature from start to finish. It's going to be real quick and short, about 10 to 15 minutes. After that, we're going to have a Q&A session. So as we're going through the demo, if you do have any questions throughout the demo, just feel free to drop those in the chat. And at the end of the demo, when we get into the Q&A, I'll go through and answer all of your questions in the Q&A. Additionally, please stick around to the end because we're going to be announcing a very special offer to attendees of this webinar. So keep an eye out for that at the end. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into this exciting new feature that we're so excited about. And one reason I'm personally excited about this is because I used to be a producer myself, and I used to run many projects at once, dozens of projects that I was producing and managing. And each project, I would try to create checklists or, kind of processes that I could share with the other producers I was working with or other people on my team. But it was really just a bunch of messy documents. And I don't think anybody really ended up paying attention to those, including myself. And ultimately what happened is that whenever I started a new project, I had to build it all from scratch. I had to build the entire calendar, and everything that needed to get done really came out of my brain. It was my producer brain that kept everything on track. And if it wasn't for me, other people may not have known our process and would have missed important things that needed to get done. So we're excited about this feature because we're going to allow producers to essentially download their brain into Assemble software and create a repeatable process and repeatable template that can be used on any additional projects to either A, streamline yourself so that you can set up projects in seconds, or B, when you bring on other team members, other producers, cue them in on your process and let them instantly understand every single step that needs to get done. So let's go ahead and jump to the demo from here, and we'll go ahead and walk through it. So real quick, to start this off, quick 5-minute overview of Assemble for anybody here who may not be familiar with Assemble. Assemble is an end-to-end project management solution built specifically for producers, production companies, content creators, and really creatives of all type. But what it does is it allows you to bring everything into one place, including your calendars, your task lists, your asset management, and many more things into one place so that you can have one central command center to manage all of the productions that you're working on. So this is your project dashboard where you can see all the projects that you're currently working on. If you click into a project, this is going to contain everything needed for that project. We like to think of this as like a digital workbook for your project. So each project is going to have its own calendar. So if we click here, you're going to see that you can build out calendars, you can add tasks to the calendars, and essentially create this centralized hub for all your entire production timeline. You can also switch this into a timeline view, which gives you a Gantt style view of the entire calendar. Now, some other things that are great about this is that you can, of course, add these tasks to the calendar. You can add assignees to those tasks so people know what they're responsible for. And then if you pop open a task here, you can see we can add additional notes to that task. We can create subtasks here and assign those to people on our team, amongst many other things. One other thing, side note, that's great about Assemble is that you can share this calendar with anybody. They don't need to have an Assemble account. You can create a public link of this calendar that you can send to clients, studio, anybody else you may be collaborating with, and they don't even need to have an Assemble account to access it. And furthermore, they can sync it to any calendar of their choice, whether it's Google, Apple, or Microsoft. They can get synced up and connected to this calendar. So it really just creates one centralized hub. So moving on our quick tour of the dashboard, aside from the calendar, we also have the project phases. And so what this is really your digital production binder. And so within these phases, you can add subfolders, you can organize any sorts of documents, whether that's financial documents like budgets, scripts, storyboards. You can manage your cast, your location options, and then getting into post-production, we have advanced post-production review capabilities, including file review capabilities, version control, uploading galleries, and a number of different asset management features. And then finally, within Assemble, we have incredibly powerful user permissions management. So here at the bottom, you can actually create different teams within your project. As you can see, I've got my team, client, and post as an example, and I can completely control what all these teams have access to. So First of all, on the phase level, I can go into a phase and I can actually decide who's going to have access to each individual phase within the project. So maybe I want to share this with the client and post, but I can also do that within a folder. Maybe, I don't want the client seeing this folder. I can remove their access from that folder and do it within individual assets as well. And lastly, circling back to the calendar, within the calendar, you can actually click on a task and you can control which teams can see that task. So for instance, maybe I don't want my client to see that. I can remove them from this task and they'll no longer be able to see that task on the calendar. If you look on the right, we have these tabs for each team, and clicking this is going to show you visually what each team is going to see when they log in and when they view that calendar. So that wraps up my quick 5-minute demo of Assemble to familiarize everybody with what Assemble is. So let's go ahead and jump into what we're here to talk about, which is, of course, project templates. So the great thing about project templates is that at any given time, let's say you've come in here, you've set up this project. In this example, we're shooting a 60-second TV commercial. You've built out the calendar, you've assigned all your subtasks, you've built your folder structures, your teams, your permissions, everything, maybe hours of setup, who knows, depending on how complex that project is. And you may think, what if I want to do a project like this in the future? Well, the great thing is that anytime you can take a snapshot of your entire project and save that as a project template. So the way to do that is click the 3 dots up here and click Save as Template. Now, we're going to go ahead here and create the template. So let's go ahead and say this is our commercial template. I'm going to go ahead and paste a description in here. Oh, that's not right. Let me just type in a generic description here. This is our template. And then you can also include a thumbnail if you want. Maybe you want to add a company logo or something of that nature, and then decide what you want to include with this template. So we'll walk through these one by one. Number one is calendar and tasks. This is going to save your entire calendar, all the tasks, all the subtasks, and the milestones that are on your calendar. Folder structure is going to save your entire folder structure, including all your subfolders and everything that you built out. And then finally, teams and permissions is going to save your teams, as well as all of the permissions for every folder, every subfolder, every task on the calendar, complete permissions saved across the project. So let's go ahead and save that template. You're going to get a confirmation down here saying that the template has been saved. So let's jump back out to the master dashboard. So as noted, maybe we're producing a bunch of commercials and we've got a new commercial coming up. We don't want to have to set that entire thing up again, spend hours and hours doing that. Just click here on the templates tab and you're going to see that template that's just been created. Here you're going to see the duration of the template based on the calendar, the owner, as well as the date that it was created. Just click that template. It's going to give you a quick preview of what's inside and go ahead and select use this template. So let's go ahead and add details for the project. Now we're creating our project based on this template. So let's say we're shooting a commercial, maybe it's for Adidas this time. And you're going to select a start date. And what's great about this is that when you select the start date, it's going to auto build your entire calendar based on that start date. So it's actually going to give you an estimated end date here. And so if you have, a specific date you need to hit, maybe this needs to be done by January 1st, you can kind of back into that a little bit and finesse the dates here until you hit that estimated end date. And then at least you know how much time you need to shave off once you get into the project. So just a great way to just set up your project and understand exactly how long it's going to take. Once again, we could add another logo if we want. Let's just go ahead and add a company logo here. And we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and start that project. The next screen we're going to see is the phases setup screen. So this shows us, once again, all the phases within that template. But what we can do is we can actually click into these phases and we can see all the tasks within each phase. So we can get an idea for exactly what tasks are included in these templates. And we can also see exactly when those tasks are going to be due based on the start date of the project and the duration that we'll have for each of these. Now, this can all be edited once inside the project. This is just meant to be a preview of what's inside. Additionally, let's say maybe we have like a location already. We know we're not going to need any sort of location tasks. You can just remove that entire phase from this screen as well. So kind of customize it a little bit if you'd like, but let's go ahead and just add that back in for now. Let's go ahead and click next, and we're onto the invite teammates screen. Here we can invite our teammates, and we already have those teams built out that we've already selected. So you can select the team and invite specific people to each individual team from this screen. The great thing is that when they're invited to the project will already have all of the user permissions that you've set up for that template applied to it. So when your client's getting invited at this stage, you already know they're only going to be seeing the things that you want them to see, and so on and so forth with the various teams. So let's go ahead and click done, and we are now done. As you can see, the entire project has been built from that template, ready to go. If we pop into the calendar, we can see our entire calendar has been built out based on the start date that we selected. If I jump here into a event, I can see it's not only saved the task name, but it's also saved the task details and all of our subtasks. It's removed the assignees in case we have a different team this time around. You can go in and quickly start assigning people to those tasks as they're invited. And then furthermore, our entire folder structure has been saved here. So we've got all the folders that we've laid out. We know everything's going to be in its right place, but it does not save any of the files from the template, which is going to give you a clean, fresh, new project so that you can, of course, add all of the new project files into the folder structure. And then finally, we've got our teams here that we've created. And as mentioned before, all of those team permissions for each of the phases is going to be saved. So the teams are only going to have access to the phases and folders that we've given them access to. So as you can see, this is a incredibly powerful feature for producers like us, because it's going to enable you to set up projects in seconds instead of hours. Once you've created these templates, you can utilize it with yourself, with your team, and kick off projects literally in seconds. Once you're in, of course, you can go in, you can shift events, finesse the calendar as needed, and make any changes that you need to the project. But the goal here is that you're reducing your project setup time to minutes instead of hours in terms of getting a complete project ready to go and ready for pre-production. So great, that is the demo. Excited to jump into the Q&A now. So if anybody has questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A and I will go ahead and answer them one by one. And if we don't have any questions, no problem. I'll give everybody oh, here we go. Bethany, do you have to create a template from an existing project? Yes, you do. And the reason for that is because essentially we feel that producers typically like to work fast, right? And they're basically going to be building these projects out anyway. So the way that we wanted to design it was that you could take snapshots of your templates at any time from existing projects. But it would work just the same way as if you were building it from scratch. Basically, you just start a new project, build out the template that you want, and then click Save Template, and you can save that as a template. So even if that isn't an active live project, that would be the process, yes. Cool. Open it up. Any other questions here coming in from anybody? Awesome. Thank you, Bethany. We are excited as well. Great. Well, if that is all the questions from the attendees, I will go ahead and go to our wrap up here and our special offer. Feel free, if you have questions, feel free to keep popping them in. I'll keep answering them. But let's go ahead and begin to close out here. So a few things to note. Every attendee of this webinar will get early access to this feature. This feature will be live for all of you starting on Friday, November 12th. So keep an eye out for that. When you log in using your email that you used to sign up for this webinar, you'll be able to access that feature this Friday. Additionally, we are offering an awesome offer to attendees. If you use the code TEMPLATIZE at checkout, you're going to receive not one, but your first 2 months free in return for joining this sneak peek. And this code will be good until the end of the week. So make sure you use that before Friday, November 12th at midnight, Los Angeles time, in case we have any international attendees here. Lastly, if there's anybody here that maybe started a trial in the past and wants to get back in and check this out, if you need to restart your trial, please just email support@assemble.tv. Let us know you want to start your trial and we'll get it reactivated, get you a few more days on your free trial today so that you can jump in and test this new feature out. Cool. One more question coming in from John. Sure. I may need a little bit more elaboration on that, John, but I'll try to address the question. If you have any further elaboration, please let me know. But it sounds like in terms of just asset management, you're curious how the template feature works. Basically, within each of these phases, you can create subfolders. So if I come into a phase here, I can come in here and create a subfolder. So maybe, you know, I've got my call sheets for the shoot, right? And maybe I've got, you know, oops, sorry, wrong button there. Maybe I've also got my location contracts or things of that nature. And then getting into post-production, you could build out your different folders. So maybe you have, you know, your raw footage, right? Or you have final deliverables or a variety of different folders that you're going to use to manage that post-production process. Basically, that's what it enables you to do, is build out that folder structure throughout your project. And then when you save that template, that structure is already pre-built out so that you don't have to redo that every time you start a project. Hopefully that answered your question, John, but let me know if you have any other questions. Jim, question coming in here. Great question, Jim. So asking if you can associate documents with the tasks such as personal releases and location releases. Currently, there's not a way to attach a document to a task like within the screen, but that is on the roadmap. Keep an eye out for that. That will be coming definitely very soon. So you'll be able to add attachments in there in the near future. Another question from Megan. Unfortunately, for existing subscriptions, the discount does not apply. That is for new user signups. Apologies for that, Megan, but thank you so much for being a customer. I do appreciate you. Great. Just checking through. I believe that's all the questions. If anybody has any additional questions, give it a few more seconds here. And if not, we'll go ahead and wrap up.